Hello guys, how are you? In this video I will explain how to become a rideshare driver. Now it's March. Summer is usually the worst time because there is a surge in drivers and college kids, teachers or students in general are free, so they don't need rides to go to class. However, this is a fact that also depends on where you are. Generally, in the summer things slow down because there are too many drivers and less people who need a ride, but this can depend on the area you are in. There are also areas that in the summer are full of activity, with the concerts, nightlife and other events, so you can even make $40 or $50 an hour. One of the misconceptions that there is around this business is that it requires who knows what experience. To get started, you need a car first. You can use your own car. However, each city has its own car requirements, so you need to find out what requirements your vehicle must meet to move around. So, what you need to get started is a clean driving record and your car, which must still meet requirements, which vary depending on the city you are in. Generally, platforms don't evaluate your driving experience, but obviously only do so if you have good driving skills for obvious reasons. The first thing you need to do is choose a platform. The most famous are Uber and Lyft, but there are others. This is not a business model where you can sit back, do nothing and still make money. No. You will have to invest your time, even many hours. To earn money, this business requires time and also continuous work. Good places or cities to do this activity are the cities where there is a good tourist traffic. Even the cities where there are difficult weather conditions are good, or all the cities where there are many sporting events and concerts. For example, San Francisco is a good area for most drivers. There are people who in a week can earn even $1,000 driving for about 40 hours a week. However, the work in a city can vary depending on the days and times. You adapt with experience. For example, if you realize that in your city on the weekends there are too many drivers and few people who need a ride, you can change your area in the city and opt for a different time. For example, after 7 in the afternoon on the weekends, you realize that there is more activity. There are more people who need a ride, then build a schedule around that time. Sometimes not even the number of rides can be a good indicator, because if the trips are almost all short, it might not be convenient. Sometimes it doesn't even matter which city you're in. You just have to experiment and spend time understanding your preferences, identifying the areas and periods in which it's more convenient to drive. So, let's say you earn $20 an hour. After 8 hours in a day, you can earn $150, not considering expenses. This depends, as I already said, also on the regions. For example, if you are in Philadelphia, driving early in the morning, roughly between 5 and 10 in the morning, you can generally earn $30 an hour. There is no absolute answer because the main thing to do is understand the market, study the area where you are, but there are people who can make those earnings. You have to evaluate whether where you are there is more work during the week or during the weekends. You don't have to necessarily accept all the rides, all the requests, or drive for 10 hours every day. After a few weeks, you realize that maybe you can also do 4 to 6 hours during the morning or during the evening when there is more movement, and decline the rides that don't seem convenient. Now, let's talk about how to get started. First of all, choose a platform. The biggest ones are Uber and Lyft, but I don't recommend sticking to one platform. I recommend working with multiple platforms. If you start with Uber, it might happen that in the early days, the first few weeks, Uber tries to direct you to the best rides. However, it only does so for an initial period, and then your earnings might drop. So, even with regards to the platform, you understand by experimenting. I recommend that you ignore Uber metrics like your acceptance rate and instead trust your instincts and choose the rides that seem most convenient to you. So understand your market, the area you're in, the best times, and I also recommend that you don't chase surges. Because what can happen is that you see an area and in the meantime that you go to that area, the surges has disappeared. Then there are the tips to consider which can increase your earnings. As for surges, these are convenient if they occur in your area or in an area not too far from yours. But if you have a daily plan, don't ruin it by chasing surges. When you drive, people are generally more likely to tip if you're friendly with them or if you build some kind of connection through conversation. But don't try to force a conversation to get tips, because people will notice. So don't force a conversation, but if you see that the person you are giving a ride to wants to talk, mirror their attitude and engage in the conversation, because that can also result in a good tip. Some people like to talk during the ride, others are brusque. Try to test the waters by maybe asking for confirmation of the destination. So, when the passenger gets in, you can ask for confirmation of the destination. Then you can also ask how they are, and if they simply answer everything is fine without asking you the same question, it is best to remain silent for the duration of the ride, because they obviously don't feel like having a conversation, and this could annoy them. If they return the question and ask you how you are, then they probably feel like having a conversation at the moment. Try to read the room and understand. So, it is perfectly possible to earn even $20 or $30 per hour. You don't have to accept every single ride. As time goes by, you become more selective about the rides you accept. Always consider the distance, time, and income. With experience, you can evaluate whether a ride is convenient or not faster. Your judgment will improve. Look for areas of your city where there are more clubs, bars, or events on the weekends, and during the week try to focus on the suburbs. And once you complete a ride, you should have an idea of where to go before your next trip. Try to have in mind some spots from which it is easy to reach the hot spots in a short time. Another thing to keep in mind is the cleanliness of the car. Clean your car daily. You can also use air fresheners. If the trip is going to be long, you can offer water to the rider or offer the possibility of charging their phone. These little things can create a more positive experience. We are at the end of this video. I hope it was useful to you. Bye.